Hey guys, Hotcakes here. Gonna go over 5 TikTok controversies that will disturb you. Let's see how disturbing.
Ah, TikTok. Where else are you going to waste several hours mindlessly scrolling to avoid getting your work done? For most of us, TikTok is a fun app that gives us a bit of lighthearted entertainment. However, because we can never
Yeah, I do this way too often. I like the reels though, because I'm old. But I do like TikTok too, just to scroll through and kill some time.
have nice things, there is a darker side to this app. Today, we'll be looking at 5 disturbing TikTok controversies that might make you think before you scroll. At the beginning of 2020, TikTok user John Ferry began posting some unusual content under the handle @JohnsBones. Initially, he caught people's eyes by sharing facts about the human skeleton or showing how certain bones and joints interact. Ferry
These are all red flags, man. Red flags. To be that into bones, I don't even like looking at X-rays. I don't want
would
to see
appear
my
in
bones.
video after video, holding various skulls or showing off a literal wall of human spines inside his New York City apartment. He
Whoa,
also started to sell his collection of
whoa!
human remains
In your
through his
apartment.
company, aptly named John's Bones. But it wasn't long before people started to wonder just where all these bones were coming from. When comments began to accuse Ferry of grave robbing, he took to the internet to set the record straight. But he ended up setting off a firestorm. Ferry was adamant that he did not acquire the bones through any illegal means and that he had purchased them from private collectors or
How do you know private collector of bones? Like I get you donate your body to science and they send that to Alabama or something and they throw it in the yard, and see what's up, see how we decompose, all that kind of stuff. I've seen that before. I've heard of that. But private collectors of your
companies
bones?
that mostly originated out of China, India, or Russia, claiming that they were
Mm,
all ethically
there you go.
sourced. However, Ferry had no
Yeah,
official
yeah.
documentation to show for his bones, and those who purchased through the John's Bones website get no documentation or history of the remains in their possession. People began to question how Ferry knew his bones were from an ethical source, since he appeared to have no records. It's also worth mentioning that something that is technically legal isn't necessarily ethically or morally okay. Furthermore, as people dug into Ferry's past, it became clear that he had no qualifications whatsoever, having no formal education in osteology, anthropology, or any related field that would make him a reliable expert. His treatment of the bones on his TikTok account turned many stomachs, leading to outcries questioning why he thought it was okay to dress up skeletons, allow his pets to play in their bones.
Yeah, you see, these are red flags. What? These are real human remains. It's not a fake skull. Why do you have your cat playing with it? Why do you just have it lying around in your house? That's not
Or
that's not
shove
healthy,
money
man.
between their teeth. One TikTok user named
Yeah, there you go.
Bari3 commented, "Those were people, not rocks to collect. Have
Right.
respect." Others also noted that without proper documentation, these individuals were not being treated in the manner that their culture or religion might mandate. For example, Muslims are supposed to be buried facing Mecca, and Ferry has no way of knowing which of his many skeletons might have been Muslim during their lives. Though Ferry likes to assert that he is humane and principled, claiming that he only sells his bones to medical students or institutions and that he gives the remains a dignified purpose, there is no proof to back this up. In fact, YouTube user Ready to Glare tried to purchase bones from his company's website, hoping that she would run into some kind of wall since she is not a doctor or in the medical or educational field. Unfortunately, it was shockingly easy to do,
Yep, got him.
and she encountered no
Good
kind
job.
of blockade that would bar her, as a private
What?
citizen and collector,
It's just
from
a
buying human
it's
remains
an
from
Amazon
John's
for
Bones.
bones.
There is no regulation or documentation put in place to ensure that a purchaser from John's Bones has an educational intent when purchasing from his business. It is far more
What is
likely
that?
that Ferry is simply capitalizing off of a corrupt trade that forces destitute families to surrender their loved ones' bodies to stave off the financial burden of a proper funeral. He could also have bodies in his possession that came from less than ethical circumstances, like murder or grave robbing, and he would have no idea. So, although what Ferry is doing isn't
Yeah, I
technically
bet you he has
illegal in the
more of an
United
idea than
States where he
allegedly
resides, it is certainly
has more of an
morally
idea.
dubious and begs the question: would
I'll
his
leave that right
business
there.
be as profitable if it weren't for his TikTok presence and over 500,000 followers?
I have a million creepers out there, man. That was
In
pretty strange.
2019, a 25-year-old named John Robert Bell joined TikTok under the usernames @JoeRobe and @JoeRobeIRL. He gained traction by posting politically correct commentary videos and stating that his main goal was to make the internet a safe place for young people.
This type of public humiliation and outright rejection of identity is all
All right. Yeah, these guys, the ones that yell the loudest about certain aspects that don't affect them personally are usually the guys. I'm not saying him. I don't know him. It's all allegedly, right? Because it's a controversy. So it's not for sure. But usually these guys all end up being the ones that are like the worst in these situations.
too common in the transgender community. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
By 2021, he had almost 6 million followers between his two TikTok accounts. However, controversy exploded in the summer of 2020.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me, guys. We're up to almost 30 subscribers. So let's try to get 50 soon. Thank
When
you.
17-year-old Dylan, known as @DillG16 on TikTok, posted a video to the app claiming that Bell was the biggest hypocrite he'd ever met. He then went on to detail how Bell used TikTok to connect with him initially, leveraging his popularity on social media as a way to groom Dylan, a minor 10 years
They
his
kind of
junior.
fish.
Bell joined one of Dylan's
fish
live
their-
streams and asked for his Snapchat, which he readily gave him, and the pair struck up a conversation on the
victims
app
out.
for several weeks.
Being like,
Dylan then invited Bell to a daily Zoom call that he held
like
with
all
his
into
other
their-
TikTok friends, all aged between
problems,
15 and
whatever problems
19,
they have, these
and
kind of
Bell
guys, they
accepted.
just go
After about a
into that.
week of attending this Zoom call, Bell asked Dylan to get an Airbnb with him once he turned 18, and even promised to supply alcohol if he agreed to go. Initially, Dylan was excited by the proposition, but grew increasingly uncomfortable when it became clear that no one else was invited. Bell continued to send him listings for one-bedroom Airbnbs until Dylan began flat-out ignoring his advances. He also encouraged Dylan to set up an OnlyFans account when he turned 18, offering to set it up for him and become a subscriber once it was live. Bell strove to isolate Dylan from his friends, claiming that he was the only person Dylan could trust, leading Dylan to not speak to his friend group for about 4 months. Dylan
you see, they look for the most vulnerable people because they're affected by all these problems, all these issues, and whatever personal issues they have. And these are the kind of guys who just like, they get in that world of helping you with these issues just to capitalize on you. So you got to be very wary, man. It sucks that you can't just trust people and like, oh, this is a nice guy. No, sometimes there's always something dark behind their altruism.
also alleges that he was not the only young man that Bell has attempted to
Supposed
groom.
altruism.
In fact, within Dylan's weekly Zoom calls with his teen TikTok friends, Bell apparently had all the boys take a BDSM quiz and share their results with him. YouTube user Papa Gut has also claimed that multiple boys have reached out to him detailing Bell's predatory behavior, and he has a Google document from these young men that lists Bell's multiple offenses towards them.
That's grooming. They didn't even realize how honestly bad this whole situation was while we were talking.
Shortly after the accusations against him went viral, Bell's TikTok
this is
accounts
as
went
close to the
private
definition
and
of
then
grooming as you
disappeared.
can get,
It's
for sure.
unknown whether or not Bell was banned or if he took them down voluntarily. Furthermore, at this time, all of these allegations are unverified, but the behavior described by both Dylan and others is certainly troubling. Regardless, if the allegations turn out to be true or false, it's a good reminder.
Yeah, now see, a 30-year-old, he looks like he's in his 30s. I don't know. I don't know this guy. 30-year-old doing TikTok dances. I mean, unless you're with your kids or your nephews or something like that, then you're doing some TikTok dances. All right. But if you're just doing them on your own, that's a little red flag,
Reminder
man.
that the people we think we know online are still only strangers. In June of
I
2020, a
should say
group of
40.
teens
I'm almost
decided
40.
to spend their day adventuring around their home city of Seattle. Using the app Randonautica, which
I love
generates
Seattle.
random geographical coordinates within a certain radius set by the user, the kids
Seattle's a cool place, man. You guys should all go, but just y'all need to clean up the heroin addicts, man. They're all over the place. Like, that's crazy. It's a beautiful city and just filled with heroin addicts. Cut it out.
found
No need for
themselves
that.
at Alki Beach in the western portion of the city. Whipping out their phones, they began filming the experience for TikTok, and their discovery was later posted on the app under the username @UgHenry. The gang spotted a black suitcase on the rocks below them, and joking that it might contain money, a couple of the teens clambered down to check it out. Upon opening the bag,
I've
a
seen enough true
horrible
crimes.
stench wafted out, with the teen boy
That
behind the
might be about
camera
it.
remarking,
It stinks, y'all.
one of the girls lifted the lid of the suitcase with a stick and was only able to see black trash bags. At this point, the group was disturbed by the smell and the mysterious nature of the luggage, so they opted to call the police instead of proceeding any further.
There you go.
The kids' worst suspicions were later
call the cops.
confirmed when the suitcase and a smaller duffel bag
When you see,
discovered
like, a
nearby
suitcase of
were found to contain two
dead
sets
bodies,
of human remains. Later identified as 27-year-old Austin Winter and 35-year-old Jessica Lewis, the couple had been beaten, shot, and dismembered roughly 2 weeks before they were discovered by the teens. 2 months after the gruesome discovery, an arrest was made. Austin and Jessica's landlord, 62-year-old Michael Lee
What?
Dudley, was charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder.
Man, it looks like Santa
Apparently, the
Claus.
landlord was angry with the couple over late rent payments and bringing
Yo, murderers are crazy, yo. Like, how are you gonna kill somebody who doesn't pay you? How are they gonna pay you? And then you're gonna go to jail? Well, what is the
criminal
I can
activity
never
onto
understand.
his property. The nature of this activity remains unclear, as does the amount of rent that Austin and Jessica may or may not have owed Dudley. He remains in jail with his bail set at $5 million. The way that Dudley disposed of Austin and Jessica's remains is horrifying, and though their killer can now be brought to justice, it remains equally distressing that they were discovered by a
Barely
group of
chop up a
young
chicken.
people
This
just
guy's
out
over here.
having fun.
It's a wild man. Santa Claus, crazy.
Unfortunately, the previous story isn't the only example of unsuspecting teens stumbling upon human remains. This case, however, is a little more macabre. In July of 2021, then 17-year-old Bethany Martin and her unnamed 16-year-old friend were out walking in southwest Bexar County, Texas, near the city of San Antonio. The pair came across the body of a 25-year-old man lying in a drainage ditch. Martin then began to film the situation, uploading it to her Snapchat account. Her Snapchat footage showed
Why
Martin
would
approaching the
you
man's
put it on
corpse
Snapchat?
and removing his necklace.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god.
Martin separated the pendant from the chain and
This girl has real deep issues, man. If you're out here taking things off of a dead body you just found.
threw the chain into a nearby patch of grass. She then handed the ornament to her younger friend, who placed it on her own gold chain to wear. The videos eventually found their way to the Bexar County Sheriff's Office through an anonymous source, and both teens were apprehended by the authorities and charged with felony theft from a human corpse. Less detail is known about the 16-year-old accomplice since she is a minor, but Martin's bail was set at $2,000, which her family later paid to have her released. Javier Salazar, a sheriff in Bexar County, was haunted by the footage, remarking, "It was disturbing because they're laughing, treating it as a joke."
Yeah, I mean, taking a necklace off a dead body and then just discounting the whole deal. Like this is a big, like, you need a psychologist now, right now.
Salazar later stated that if it hadn't been captured on video, he wouldn't have believed the story. Before her arrest, Martin uploaded 2 videos to TikTok referencing the event, although they didn't show footage of the body like her Snapchat video had. The deceased man was later identified as Marcus Adams, and his cause of death was eventually ruled a. The gold pendant removed from his neck by the girls was returned to the parents, and the family set up a GoFundMe to help offset the costs of the funeral. Devastated by his death and especially hurt by the disrespectful and troubling way the teens treated his son's body, Adams' father, Marcus Adams Sr., said in a statement to the press, "It's bad enough to steal from the living, but to steal from the dead? He's helpless. He's no longer here. He couldn't fight back." As of 2022, not many updates are available, but it seems that Martin has been indicted on the charges she was initially facing.
Yo, it's a real disturbing young lady here. Yeah, this is a little gruesome, man. Like, I don't know. Yeah, this is a strange case. This girl's a nut job, allegedly. Number one.
In April 2021, friends and family of 45-year-old Daniel Halseth of Las Vegas, Nevada, became concerned when he failed to respond to their calls and texts. His mother reached out to her granddaughter, Sierra, by text, asking her where her father might be. Sierra responded that all was well and that his phone was simply acting up. But the unnerving silence from Daniel continued. Eventually, he was discovered by Las Vegas police dead in the garage of his own home. He had been stabbed upwards of 70
chainsaw
times,
and a fire.
shoved into a sleeping bag, and then set on fire. The authorities didn't have to look too far for a culprit. His 16-year-old daughter, Sierra, and her 18-year-old boyfriend, Aaron Guerrero, left behind a mountain of evidence
18.
that included a taped TikTok confession. The two can be seen laying on the floor of what appears to be a tent, giggling and making light of the situation.
I don't know what to say.
Welcome back to our YouTube channel. After Day 3 after murdering somebody.
Whoa! Don't put that on the camera.
Yo, that's crazy.
It was worth it.
So yeah.
I don't care what these people say in court. These
Aside
people
from the
deserve,
TikTok video
all of
that
it.
was widely circulated, the teens were
Whatever
also
the
caught on
longest
security
sentence is.
cameras purchasing saws, bleach, and drop cloths before Daniel's murder. And Sierra was caught on an ATM camera using her father's debit card after his demise. Apparently, Sierra and her boyfriend had planned to run away to Los Angeles together towards the end of 2020. But when both teens' parents uncovered their plans, they forbade them from seeing each other. Figuring they had no other way to be together, the pair concocted a plan to kill Sierra's father. The teens were charged with.
Again, man, I don't understand I don't understand how you get this deep into your head where you think that you're gonna off your family and just go live the life you wanted to live. Like, you're gonna end up in jail, especially these damn kids, these dumb kids over here. Just they don't know what they're doing. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. It leaves me speechless sometimes with these how people just react to the most mundane things and go so overboard
with
as to
murder,
do something like
conspiracy, arson, robbery, and fraudulent use of a credit card. Though Sierra is being charged as an adult, neither will face the death penalty. At this time, both have pleaded not guilty to the charges filed, and there are no further updates as of now. Sure, sometimes TikTok can make you do crazy things, but in this case, it seems like TikTok actually helped to catch a pair of cold-blooded killers.
Day 3 after murdering somebody.
Wow! Don't put that on the camera.
It was
that.
worth it.
As cold-blooded as it gets. I don't know how you get that far in your thoughts to get that far in your actions, but yeah. Yeah, if you got any more videos like this you want me to review, this was a little dark, but yeah, we'll go through them. Just leave them in the comments and let me know. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.